Brodie Lee is where we were headed. Passed away, and I mean, there's no other way than just get into it, right? It turns out that we knew he was a beloved guy, but we had no idea. And it made it all the more kind of hard to deal with, even as a fan who didn't know the guy personally,
right?
To see the impact he had emotionally on so many people, nearly everybody, it seems like. And then the tribute show from AEW. We give them a lot of praise, and at times we border on sounding like fanboys, but I don't feel out of turn of saying this might have been the best tribute show I've seen. It reminds me of the Eddie Guerrero one, with the amount of people that just had nothing bad to say about this guy.
Yeah, I thought it was fantastic as far as a tribute show. I don't necessarily feel comfortable, ranking tribute shows, right? Like the Brian Pill one wasn't as good as the Owen Hart. With that aside, though, it was done very well.
Yeah.
To
be clear, I'm not ranking them. This one just sticks out as like, holy crap, I don't recall one that made me. Yeah.
And it was great. And if you watch Being the Elite, you saw Eddie Kingston give a very heartfelt speech afterwards. That was very moving. I really enjoyed listening to that, just again as an outsider and a fan of the promotion. It was very sad, very sudden, at least sudden to the outsider perspective, right? I wasn't tuned into the AEW dirt sheets or anything like that. We kept on saying, like, when is the Dark Order going to flip the switch from this wacky sideshow, and when is Brodie Lee going to come in? Yeah, and when is Brodie Lee?
Why Cody suddenly won it back, and then he's gone. All of it makes more sense. Why they were stalling. Now it all makes sense. And of course, his wife had said, like, he is a guy who was big on his privacy. So she asked, please don't say anything.
Right, of course.
And they didn't, to their credit. Yeah. And we were sitting here going, man.
I want him back because I want that, big, evil, menacing monster in my weekly wrestling program. Yeah. But in our defense, like, we didn't know, right? We didn't know he was sick, and then saying, get him healthy because we need X, So anyhow, the thing that I will remember, though, and first, before I go into my little memory lane of Brodie Lee, I do want to say, if you haven't checked out Tim's TikTok of the recap of the news from Brodie Lee, definitely do so. Tim, you did a great job. It was it was done very well. I really enjoyed your work there. But what I was going to say is one of my favorite memories of Brodie Lee is something, I don't know if I even shared it with you, but Brodie Lee and Big E are big mixed martial arts fans, right?
Right.
They enjoy the sport. They would watch it, almost everything. They watch, and not even just MMA. They watch Glory kickboxing, and they watch jiu-jitsu competitions. They would do all of this together. So anyhow, by second-hand accounts, good friend of the Regal twins and Anthony is a guy named Emilio Sparks. And Emilio Sparks would say that Big E himself and Brodie Lee would watch Kansas City Fighting Alliance. And so there would be a couple shows where I would be calling the action. One show in particular, Emilio shared with Anthony, and then Anthony then shared with me, is I got the gig last minute, and I wasn't prepared. I didn't really know the card that well. And so what I did, like any good wrestling fan, is I prepared by going to a website that had Jerry Lawler's best one-liners, and I just ripped the best ones out, right? So I said, he's so strong, he can eat a steak with a spoon. He has 9 months to come, or their parents had 9 months to come up with a name, and the best they'd come up with is Bruce or whatever the name is, right? So I'm littering KCFA with all of these Jerry Lawler one-liners, not knowing Big E and Brodie Lee are watching this. Emilio Sparks tells Anthony, Anthony tells me, and it's just a fun memory that I have of Brodie Lee, that I can make him laugh. Some dork, idiot, dum-dum in Kansas City just saying Jerry Lawler lines that I think no one understands except for Big E and Brodie Lee and obviously Emilio Sparks. So that was one thing that I thought of is, at least I could make him laugh for one night, and this was years ago, wasn't anything recent, but that's one thing that came to my mind. And then obviously all of his great work is Luke Harper, the Bludgeon Brothers, even though that name's still kind of dumb. Then the Mr. Brodie Lee and all of that. I always liked him. I thought he was great. And And yeah, that big monster presence is going to be kind of a void in AEW for a while, because I thought he did it better than any of the others, right? As good as Lance Archer is, as good as Wardlow or Jake Hager and all those guys are, Brodie Lee had the mic skills and ring work to kind of deliver that full package. So he will definitely be missed as far as a viewer watching AEW.
Yeah, it sucks that, I mean, by all accounts, they lost one of the most solid dudes, right? Friend, father, dad, that kind of thing. And just, it's interesting. It's going to be weird seeing what they do with the Dark Order moving forward and kind of how they do it. But kudos to them. I mean, they had this whole New Year smash, which we're going to cover, planned, and they put it all on pause and let his son redraft the whole card and do all that. I mean, by all accounts, have been nothing but supportive of the family, have dedicated somebody from the Khan family, staff to work with them.
And credit to WWE, right? WWE also put out their own tribute. They also got reactions from guys that had worked with Brodie Lee, Luke Harper for years. Obviously Big E, I feel as, again, an outsider kind of viewing the situation, feels like he's spearheading the remembrance of his friend here. And then obviously other, Xavier Woods had a very impassioned speech after Monday Night Raw. Randy Orton had a really great Instagram post. So also credits to WWE. Obviously he ended his professional career with AEW, and it was, again, somewhat sudden. So they were the ones that had to think on the fly, but WWE didn't brush it under the rug, to their credit, and did acknowledge him and did find special ways to give him tribute. So I also want to acknowledge that as well.
Yeah, of course. No, and they did a good job. So yeah, I mean, we won't harp on too much of the sad, right, if you will.
Right.
He will be missed. Not even just me saying that about us. It's clear he's going to be missed. Yeah, John Moxley's promo was another one on AEW Dynamite, and Eddie Kingston's, and just, everybody is going to miss that dude, and that sucks. But wrestling goes on, and that's kind of, Katie, the First Lady, mentioned that in an email to us last week. Which you can email the show, tableshow@gmail.com. Might get read on the show, like Katie's was, where she talked about her father passing away, and they had a bond watching wrestling, and this is kind of helping her deal. So, that's what we're here for. We're here to help you deal.